For many years, I drank daily. I'd come home from work. I've worked hard. Tell myself, you've got your shit together. You've worked hard. Have a drink. Because I deserve it. And then over and over and over again, progressively, you just drink more. To the point where you're drinking so much that you don't know when the drinking starts and the drinking ends. Well, there is no in between. You go to work, drag yourself through another day, fight the fucking demon till it's time to get back home and have some more piss. But this is the lie that we get caught in. We get caught in a trap to believe that alcohol has a benefit. But that trap that we're actually in, that cycle of fucking misery, is actually serving us some way. We believe that it quiets the noise, it makes that stress go away, it helps us cope with all the pressure that we've fucking got in our lives. And it gives us relief, and we deserve it because fuck, we worked hard and all the bullshit that we tell ourselves. But ultimately, what happens, and what happened for me, I drank to the point where physically, mentally, and emotionally, I couldn't cope anymore. My body gave out. I had a stroke. My mind gave out. I went into psychosis, and I got put into the psych ward, and had depression, anxiety, and all these things were brought on or exacerbated by the alcohol abuse. And you think, well, alcohol isn't that bad because you can go to the shop and buy it. It's not like a drug, but it's a drug that destroys people. And if you're listening to me, it's probably destroying you. And if it's not destroying you yet, give it time. It's one of those insidious things that slowly, you start off, I started off when I was young, it's not too bad. This is pretty cool. You go to the club, have a good night out, and then the next week, you go to the club, have a good night out, something bad would happen. Oh, it's all right, or you were just pissed. And then slowly but surely, over the years and over time, the more that you drink, the more bad things happen. Then we can tell you all these stories, and I can tell you all stories of all the shit things that I've done and all the shit things that alcohol have caused me to do. But the truth is, if you've drunk like I did, sort of things that you do, things that you're not proud of, things that you wouldn't want anyone to know about you. Not because you're ashamed, not because I don't know, I guess it's not because you're ashamed of what you've done, but maybe it's because you don't believe that you did it. It's all these emotions, and probably there is a bit of shame, I suppose, because a lot of the things that you do when you drink, you'd never do when you're sober. And if you're being forced, or not forced, if you're putting something into your body that is making you do something that you wouldn't normally do, how can that be a benefit? Because it just adds a layer of fuckery to life. It's a layer of problems that you don't need. Life is fucking hard enough as it is. And you see people that are struggling every day. And they come home, grab a bottle, and all their pain and misery washes away until it doesn't. Because eventually, the more that you drink, the more that you need, and the more problems come up. And the more problems come up, ranging from health problems, wealth problems, legal problems, all these fucking problems that you're trying to make your day better. You're just trying to get by. You're just trying to have a better day. And you're just trying to let some steam off. But what happens eventually? Alcohol takes over. And all you've got left is that bottle. And you can see it. You see people every fucking day in the street clinging to their bottle of misery that's put them in the situation that they're in. There's external circumstances. There's things that have happened that have made them or help or forced them into that choice. But they also had a choice. And we can argue that addicts and alcoholics don't have a choice. Some people do have a choice. I had a choice. I was an alcoholic. I drank every fucking day for 20 plus years. Now I don't drink. So at some point, there was a choice. At some point, I decided that perhaps there was another way. And that way wasn't fucking easy. So anyone tells you that it's an easier way or fucking it's better and all this bullshit, they're lying to you. But it's another way. And I'd argue that it is an easier way because you're still going to have problems. Every day I have problems in my life and things don't go to plan. But that's okay because I'm able to deal with the problems because I'm sober rather than avoid the problems or completely ignore the problems to the point where they just become major problems or create new problems. And that's the lie that we tell ourselves. We think, oh, all the problems just go away, but they don't. They're just like on layaway or lay-by for tomorrow. You're just putting the problems off. But the thing is, they compound. Health problems. I had a stroke when I was 40 because of alcohol. That could have ended me, but it didn't. And I'd like to say that that was the turning point and that's when I saw the light and all that sort of stuff. But that wasn't it. Because I still believed on some level that alcohol had a benefit, that alcohol had something to offer me, that alcohol was giving me something that life couldn't give me. But the reality is, the only thing that alcohol can give you long term is misery. It might be fun in the moment, and I'm not saying that alcohol's bad. I'm not saying it. It's just a substance. And if you can have one or two beers and that's it and move on with your day, good. But it's a trap, because what happens is you might have one or two one day. Then you're like, oh, that's nice. Then the next day have four. The next day have six. Next day have eight. And it's progressively. And that's why it's a progressive illness or a progressive thing, because you need more and more, to the point where you lose touch of reality. I lost touch of reality, and the only reality that I cared about was getting pissed. But there's more to life than that. Your family that suffer when you drink. My family suffered when I drank. There's your health. And all these things alcohol will take from you eventually, because alcohol will not fix any problems that you have. And a lot of the time we think, oh, we just need to have some willpower and fight it. But willpower in itself will not stop you drinking, because you feel that deprivation. You feel like you're being punished. And then the longer you're punishing yourself, the longer that you're counting the days, the longer that you're feeling as though that you're fighting against it. The relapse or getting back on the piss becomes inevitable, because it's like you're fighting it. And sobriety in itself feels like that you're losing, that you're actually giving something up rather than you're actually putting something down. You're choosing your life. You're actually choosing a positive thing for your life. So instead of focusing on all the things that you're going to lose, start to think about all the things that you can gain in sobriety, because all the benefits that alcohol offers are either an illusion or very short term. And on the flip side of that, it has a very nasty sting in its tail. And often we get caught in the trap of thinking that it's going to help us somehow, but it won't. So if you're thinking about stopping drinking, start to think about living. Start to think about how you can live life. Start to think about all the things that alcohol is costing you. Really think about it and look at the benefits that you think in your head and ask yourself, are they real benefits or is that bullshit? Because alcohol, when you think about stress relief, you think alcohol is going to de-stress us, but the truth is it won't. It creates more stress in our bodies. It numbs the noise because it turns our brains off, and it inhibits our ability to logically solve problems. And pressure, all it is just taking us away for the day. You're smarter than that. And I believe that if you're listening to me this far, you know that alcohol doesn't have a place in your life. Sobriety does. And don't think that it's, oh, I'm never going to drink again. It's not about that. It's about redefining your relationship with alcohol, redefining who you are as a man or woman, and being that person and living that life, rather than running away from the evils of alcohol. Because like I said before, alcohol is just a substance. People drink it or people don't drink it. It has no power unless you give it power. And it has no benefit unless you believe it does. So in saying that, if you believe that you can change, or if you believe that you want to change, follow me for more. My name's Jason, and I'm from Kick the Piss.